Welcome back to the March of the Lich King card review Lightforge podcast. Greeting go. I'm ADWCTA. It's getting a little late in the night, but we are trekking through. We are moving on to Hunter for this card review. This is gonna be a weird one. Okay, so the first card I'm gonna review is Keen Eye Spotter. Okay, Keen Eye Spotter is a common 3 mana 3/4. Whenever your hero attacks a minion, set its health to 1. That's really good. Because that means whenever you have a weapon, it just kills anything it hits twice, as long as this thing's on the board. That's really good. That is an A tier card. Now, the problem, which is why this is a weird rating, is that there are no weapons in this meta. I'm serious. Hunters do not have weapons besides epic weapons. I looked through all the hunter cards, and besides the one that they have from core, like I forget if it was a 1 or 2 mana. I think it's a 1 mana one. The one that gets 1/3 and then you're immune. Candle Shot, yeah. Besides Candle Shot, everything else is epic. So you're not going to actually be able to draft many weapons, if any weapons. So in this meta, it's like a C tier card, maybe a C plus tier card, depending on how many weapons you're going to be able to get. But in a normal Hunter meta, this would be an A tier card. So we don't usually do this, but I just this was so off. Like, it's weird for Hunters not to have any weapons. So we're rating this A. But like, if you're wondering like how to play this card, presumably you equip a weapon first, then you play this card, you kill whatever minion they play, which makes it really hard for them to kill this minion, and then you use the next charge of the weapon and you kill whatever the next minion they play, and then you just kind of win the game because you're Hunter and you're on the board and you're pushing. Like, if you get the setup, it's insane. Why is it only an A tier card? Because you always need a setup. Even if you have weapons in your deck, that doesn't mean you have weapons that you can play with this card, or that you draw them, or that, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. But this is an insane card. This is a game-winning card normally. Just not in this meta. Okay, next one is in a similar spot. That was Keen Eye Spotter. Shock Splitter is the next one. So Shock Splitter is a 2 mana 2/2 beast. Battle Cry, another common card. Battle Cry, deal 1 damage. So it's Ironforge Rifleman for 2 mana to start, which is pretty good. And then, that would by itself be a C tier card. But then it has an extra ability that says it is improved by your hero attacks this game. So every time you swing your weapon, this thing gets buffed. So it deals 2 damage, then 3 damage, then 4 damage. That's really good. So this becomes a B tier card actually in a normal meta. But in this meta, it's still a C tier card because you don't have weapons. So I don't know. That's kind of where these cards are. This is a really weird Hunter thing, for this rotation. They just did not give Hunter weapons. All right. Next one is Conjured Arrow. Conjured Arrow is a rare spell, 2 mana, arcane spell, deal 2 damage to a minion, mana thirst 6. Draw that many cards. So probably 2 cards. This one's a B plus. A B plus. It is a good card, obviously. You can potentially draw 2 cards for 2 mana and deal 2 damage, but you can only do it on turn 6 and after. That's for a deal 2 damage card, that's actually a really big penalty of having to wait that long. But you can't just spending 2 mana to deal 2 damage is super awful. That's a desperation move. You just kind of this kind of a card that you can't play until you are at 6 mana. So it's a B plus. It feels like it should be more, but the fact that you have to wait till 6 mana actually really hurts this one. Alright, another B plus tier card is epic. It is Scourge Tamer. Scourge Tamer is a 2 mana 2/2 undead. Battlecry, craft a custom Zombeast. You guys remember, Deathstalker Rexxar, the legendary card, had this hero power where you craft zombies. And what zombies are is it takes 2 beasts, you get to discover a beast, and you get to discover another beast, and they just jam everything together. All the abilities, all the stats, all the mana cost. So zombies end up being generally better than a single beast because you have two cards in one, and the fact that it is a card is usually worth something like +2 stats or something. So it's good, but it's still just a beast, right? And a beast can only do so many things. It's not like a spell. So this ends up being a B+. It is a 2-mana 2/2. It is losing a stat for this adding a card in. Compare that to and if you're wondering, like, this is similar, right? Like, we were talking about the Vizier neutral card that's coming in, and that one's a 3-mana 2/4, so also losing one stat. But 3-mana 2/4s are more playable than 2-mana 2/2s. But anyway, it's also losing one stat, but that one gets to discover a spell. Discovering a spell is better than crafting a custom zombies by quite a lot. So that one ends up being a low A. This one's a B+. All right. One more decent card. Arcane Quiver. Arcane Quiver is a epic card, 2-mana arcane spell. Discover a spell from your deck. If it's arcane, give it spell damage +1. So this one is a B. Yeah. Yes, this one's a B tier card. 2 mana to get a card is not that good, but your spells are good. You only have very few spells, so you have a pretty good shot of getting whichever one you're actually hunting for. So it's almost like a tutor. And tutor cards are worth a lot. Then if it happens to be arcane, you get an extra damage from it, which is probably worth a mana. So then this just becomes a 1-mana find a spell, which is like super good. So a couple conditions attached to it, but overall the upside is pretty high. The solve problemness of this card is pretty good, and it is a B tier card, Arcane Quiver. What other cards do hunters have? Hunters have a Eversong Portal. Eversong Portal is a rare spell, 4-mana arcane spell. Summon 1/4/4 links with Rush. Improved by spell damage. So if you happen to have spell damage, it can be a really good card. Like if it's a 4-mana 5/5 links, that's crazy. You probably won't have spell damage. It's kind of rare to have spell damage. It's still a 4-mana 4/4 rush. Like that's all still good. So Eversong Portal's a C+. Oh, it's not a 5/5, it's 2 4/4s? Jesus. It's even better. I don't know, maybe it's better than a C+ now. Okay. I'm gonna go redo this card as well then, guys. I did not know you get another 4/4 rush. Yeah. Alright, what else? Silver Moon Fast Rider. Silver Moon Fast Rider is the next card. It's a rare card, 2-mana 2/3. Battle Cry, give all arcane spells in your hand spell damage +1. The C tier card. I mean, it's kind of passive, right? You just happen to have an arcane spell in your hand. It gets a little bit better. It's otherwise a croc. Crocs would be between D and D+. So it's getting quite a lot for this ability because you do have a lot of arcane spells, and there's a lot of arcane spells in even this set. And it's just like I said, it's totally passive. You just play it, and then you happen to get a benefit. Okay, Ricochet Shot is our final card, and Ricochet Shot is a D tier card. It is a 1-mana arcane spell. Deal 1 damage to 3 random enemies. So you have to have at least 2 enemy minions and then the enemy's face, and then it'll do that. If you have more, it gets a little unpredictable. It could also not hit face, and then you get some extra value out of it. But it's just, yeah. Legend Heart in chat says Arcane Missiles. Yeah, it's kind of like Arcane Missiles. It's like in many ways worse than Arcane Missiles because you can't hit the same target multiple times. But I guess it also can't hit face multiple times. I don't know. It doesn't do enough, and there's so much randomness to it. It's D. This is not a good card. Now, on the other hand, if you have a spell damage, it becomes deal 2 damage to 3 random enemies, and then it becomes a good card. So this is clearly like a card that you want to synergize spell damage with. But like, what? Are you running spell damage hunter? Like, I don't know. I don't know what this is for. I mean, I guess you are running spell damage hunter is going to be a thing, right? That's why they make cards for it. But in the arena, spell damage cards are not good. So you're probably not running spell damage hunter. All right, that's hunter. Are you excited? You might be if there were some weapons, but there's no weapons. And because there's no weapons, you're just stuck with a bunch of like, kind of cards. Conjured Arrow, Scourged Hammer's an epic. Maybe this Eversong portal is going to be better than I thought it was. I'll run it again, but it's a B at most. It may stay at C+, but it could be a B. I don't know. I'm not excited. This is like honestly not that much better than Druid. I mean, it doesn't have dead cards, and Druid has dead cards, but overall, it doesn't have a lot of good cards either. A lot of the good cards are epics. So it also doesn't come together to do anything, right? Like what you want as hunters for the ability to be aggressive, there's zero ability to be aggressive here. This is like a very stand back and chill kind of set, which fits the entire theme of this rotation. So just know that Hunter is not going to be like this exception that's like going to be pushing with everything. Okay, now on to the two legendary cards. The two legendary cards. The first one is Halderon Brightwing. It is a C tier card. It's a 3 mana 3/4 Battlecry. Give all arcane spells in your deck spell damage +1. Only your deck, not your hand. So you have to draw it, so it comes very late. But it's otherwise still 3 mana 3/4, which is pretty good. So it ends up being a C. The other one, which is the more interesting legendary, is a legendary weapon. 6 mana 4/2 weapon. After your hero attacks, give your minions +1/+1 wherever they are. Board, hand, deck. Maybe graveyard, I don't know. This is one of the 2 S tier legendaries in this set. It's real good. It's really super good. You get 2 charges of it, so it's effectively +2/+2 to everything. Everything. Very good. It's only 6 mana. You get this out early. And it's a weapon. And you have cards that synergize real good with weapons. Because remember, even without weapons, the Keen Eye Spotter and Shock Splitter are still like C tier cards, which are cards you'll pick. Like, you don't like them, but you'll pick them. So this is super good. Remember, S tier is one of those areas where we don't want it to exist. But if it exists as like a premium, oh, you just win the game now, like the vast majority of times whenever you play it, and it's a class card, and you're kind of like whatever, I'm like less concerned about S tier cards that are class legendaries. But yeah, this is super powerful. On the bright side, there's only 2 of these that are S tier legendaries. There's one S tier non-legendary card, and you guys all know which one it is, because if you've ever seen it, it's seared into your mind as one of the most ridiculous cards they've ever printed. But the 2 legendary ones are fine, and this is one of them. If your opponent plays it, you're pretty much dead if you can't win in the next 2 turns, but hey, it's an S tier card. Alright, that's Hunter. I don't know, it's just not very exciting, right? It's like Druid, it's like Demon Hunter. You're gonna get some of the classes are interesting, but most of the classes just have like kind of boring cards in this set. And when they're also not powerful, they're boring and they're not powerful. It's kind of a meh kind of experience. All right, I want to give a shout out to the mods who are moderating the chat right now, but also they moderate the Discord, and I've been using the Discord more since Diablo Immortal is more forced social interactions, and I really appreciate everything that the mods do. Special shout out to Cass, who is helping a lot out on a lot of fronts. So yeah, Thank you guys. And this one went long. This one's 15 minutes. Ooh, I had a lot to talk about Hunter, even though I keep saying they're not good and or interesting. I guess they are more interesting than I give it credit for if I'm talking this long about it. All right. Next up is going to be Mage. See you guys in Mage. Until then, this is ADWCTA. Bye.